Hey everyone, I'm Joseph Fitzwater, the creator of the Guild Lords card game. And right now, I'm going to give you a rundown on the components of the game, what's included with the full game, as well as give you a little bit of a demo as to how a typical round of play looks. First of all, there's the parts. The main game is going to come with this poker tuck, the 85 card core deck, the instruction booklet, the guild cards, and the 11 tokens that are used throughout play. If you choose one of the higher rewards that comes with the oversized guild cards, they look like this. They're exactly like the regular guild cards, except they're textured, and they're 3.5 by 5.5 inches. So you can compare them to the regular cards. They're a little larger and nicer. If you get that reward with these oversized cards, the whole thing will come in this larger box, so that everything will fit nicely into just one box. Now, Guild Lords is pretty simple at its core. It's just about like any traditional trading card game you've ever played, with the exception of, instead of with like a regular trading card game, where normally if you have 5 players, all 5 of them have to have their own custom-made deck, in Guild Lords, all 5 players pull from the same pool of cards. So you only need one deck for up to 5 people to play together and enjoy. Now, all of the cards look like this. They all have a level in the upper right hand corner, a name, as well as a card type and a power source. Then they have an effect. There are 4 card types: heroes, spells, skills, equipment, and artifacts. There are 4 power sources: martial, which are your fighters, rogues, and monks; arcane, which are your wizards, sorcerers, and warlocks; divine, which is cleric, priest, and paladin; and nature, which is ranger, druid, and beastmaster. Each power source has its own theme that it goes along with, certain things that it does within the games, and the heroes personify those themes. So you can kind of get an idea of what cards are going to do based on the power source that they come from. The game is fairly simple. You have 6 guilds, and every player is going to choose one of these guilds. There are 4 that represent the 4 power sources: the explorers, which are nature; the temple, which are divine; the mages guild, which is arcane; and the warriors guild, which is martial; as well as the underground, which is sort of like your thieves guild; and the merchants guild, those that use wealth to buy power. All players at the beginning of the game will choose one, and for this little demo I'm going to use the explorers. All of your guilds have 2 abilities, a passive ability and an active ability. In the case of the explorers, the passive ability is whenever I total up my level at the end of the round, I get a +1 for all nature cards that I have. The active ability is that I can turn the card sideways in order to search the deck for 3 nature cards and add them to my hand. So if I'm ever in a pinch, I can use it. If I want to solidify my victory in a round, I can use it. But that's part of the strategy in the game. The next thing that happens is that everyone gets 7 cards, and that's the start of a round. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. All players will have 7 cards, and the first step is to check your hand and make sure that you have heroes. There are 2 important rules that set this aside from most other card games. One is that you can only play spells, equipment, and artifacts if you have a hero in play that matches a power source, that shares a power source with that card. because, after all, a sword is useless unless you have a warrior to wield it, or a spell is useless without a caster to cast it. The other is that throughout a round of play, each player can only have 4 heroes, 3 equipments, 3 spells, and 1 artifact at a time. So your hand may be filled with spells, but in this round you'd only be able to play 3 of them. So picking and choosing what card to play and when, and then who to target it with, makes a difference. Using this starting hand, I'll show you what a round looks like, as well as what happens at the end of the round, and give you an idea of what some of the abilities are that the cards can do. So on my starting turn, I would probably play this. It is a Divine Hero, level 5, Paladin. I play it just by laying it down in front of me, and it says to choose an opponent. I just choose one of my opponents, whoever I want, and I gain protection from equipments that he or she plays. Basically means that that player, any equipment that they play, cannot target me. Sort of help myself out a little bit. Then the next player would play a card, and the next player would play a card, and then it would come back around to me. Next, I would play this. The level 10 nature hero, the Beastmaster. The Beastmaster's special ability lets me summon a token, which is going to be out of the token deck over here, this. Notice it says that this token is treated as the last hero played at all times. That's because there are a lot of cards in the deck that say to do something to the last hero, or the last spell, or the last equipment that a player laid down. So by playing this Beastmaster, I've created sort of a meat shield here. Anything like that that would target me is going to hit this little level 2 beast instead of my level 10 Beastmaster, thus protecting myself a little bit more. Then next play, and so on. Next, I'm going to play the level 5 Monk hero. This card allows me to choose a player, and arcane cards that he or she plays have no effect other than level. Again, it'd be completely up to me, the strategy that I'm choosing to play, as to which player I want to put this on. But it's a huge detriment. If I see someone that's played 2 arcane heroes, it's probably a good chance they have arcane spells, arcane equipment in their hand, and they're putting those heroes out there to be able to use them. If I use this on them, it locks them down. They'll be able to get the level from the cards, but none of the effects. And speaking of arcane cards, on my next turn I would probably play the level 5 Sorcerer, an arcane hero. Choose an opponent and deal 1 damage to them. Now everyone starts the game with 20 influence. Influence is sort of your health in this game. If you start, or if you end a round with 0 influence, you're eliminated. And the ultimate goal of the game is to be the last player standing. So you want to get all of your opponents down to 0. Now, dealing 1 damage with a hero here, and then them being able to heal themselves, and dealing 1 to me, and then me being able to heal myself, it gets very tedious. But I'll show you at the end of the round what's in place to keep that from happening. Next, I'm going to play this, the Writ of Execution. It is a martial equipment card. Now I can play it because I have a martial hero on the field. What it lets me do is flip 1 hero that an opponent controls. Now when a hero is flipped, what that means is that you flip them face down, and you no longer gain any benefit from them, including the level they provide. Which means if my monk had been flipped face down before I had a chance to play this card, then I have no martial hero on the field, and I wouldn't be able to play this card. So flipping heroes and flipping equipments, which is the equivalent of destroying them, is very important to breaking down your opponent's strategy. Flip their heroes to get rid of an effect they're getting. Flip a hero so that they can't play equipments based on that hero. Next, because I have the Divine Paladin on the field, I want to play this. This is the artifact, the Divine Artifact, the Holy Avenger. It lets me choose one of the following. I can either heal myself for 3, deal 2 damage to a player, or flip 2 heroes that are on the field. That is very powerful for a card, but it's because it's an artifact. There are 85 cards in this core deck. There are 5 artifacts. They're very rare. They are powerful, but you're lucky if you get your hands on one. And last in this hand, now keep in mind this is a perfect hand. I kind of stacked the deck so that I'd be able to show you these things. And 9 times out of 10 you're not going to play all 7 cards from your hand, in which case you get to carry them over to the next round. But last but not least, I'm going to play the Oaken Staff, a nature equipment. I get to play it because I have a Beastmaster on the field. It lets me add 1 to my final level for every face-up nature card I control. Now, the way my field is set up right now, I've pretty much got this 1. But if I were iffy and weren't sure whether I would be able to win with this or not, now would be a good time to play my guild card. Because I get 1 to my final level for every nature card that I control, my guild would let me look through the deck and find 3 nature cards and put them in my hand. Because I have my Beastmaster in play, I would be able to play any of them that I get. And it would help raise my level and more ensure a victory. Now the round is over at the point where either all of the players can't play any more cards or they choose not to play any more cards. Now, an important thing to remember is if they choose not to play any more cards, once they say, I am out of the round, then they are out of the round. You can't jump back in. You're effectively done. Once everybody has done that, you total the level of all face-up cards that you have on the field. So in this case, I would have 5 and 5 is 10, plus another 5 and another 5, that's 20, plus a 10, which would be 30, plus a 5, which is 35, and then 2 2s, so 39. My level would be 39. And everyone is placed based on their level, where the highest level is first place, the next highest is second, and the next highest is third, and so on and so forth. This is where I was talking about to prevent people from just having their influence going up and down and up and down in the game taking forever comes into play. At the end of the round, after you total up your level, you take damage based on how well you did in the level. First place never takes any damage. But depending on how many players there are, all of the places from second on take an amount of damage. If there were 5 players, second place would take 1, third place would take 2, fourth place would take 3, and fifth place would take 4. As players are eliminated, however, that damage stair steps up. So that as you with 5 players, if you ended in second place, you'd take 1 damage. That's not a big deal. Once a player is eliminated and you're down to only 4 players, second place takes 2. Then once another player is eliminated and you're down to 3 players, second place takes 3. So as you get down to fewer players, things get much deadlier. You will be eliminated in a heartbeat if you're not careful once players start getting eliminated. Typically, a 5-person game is going to take 30 to 40 minutes for the first person to get eliminated. But then once that happens, players start dropping off like flies because you have to be able to adjust your strategy. And if you can't, you will be next to be eliminated. So as you can see, it's very simple at its core. It's just a matter of drawing cards, playing the cards that you're able to play. But what cards you play at what time, what ones you decide to hold on to for the next round, and what other players you choose to target, like whether you choose the person with the highest influence that's the biggest threat, or the person with the lowest influence in order to eliminate them quickly, adds a level of strategy to the game that makes it very tricky and very competitive and exciting. I seriously hope that you will give the game a try, pledge on my Kickstarter, share it on any social media that you have, and try to get the word out for me. I guarantee you that if you play this game, you will like it. Everyone I've ever had play test it has loved it.